Got it. Mhm.
Hey, 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 welcome back to the Matter Over Mind experience. I'm your host, master trainer and weight management expert, Narado Zico Powell. And you know me, right? I bring on some great people, and I have another great person for you today, Jamie B. Haas, the founder of the Jamie B. Haas method. That's excellent marketing, by the way. I love it. See, it's a guided process that draws from spirituality, positive psychology, mindfulness, and life experiences. I'm talking about the whole thing, right? So we're going to have some great conversations today. And your boy never leaves you hanging. I'm going to have a hack for you, right? So the hack of the episode is going to be some of the reasons people struggle with people pleasing and what can they do about it. So you're going to love, because I've struggled with people pleasing. I mean, once in a while, I may even still struggle with it. And if I tell somebody I'm a people pleaser by nature, they look at me crazy, like, you really are. But that's something that being Jamaican, being in my culture, it's taken a long time to get over, definitely. Anyway, enough of me. With that being said, let's welcome the expert to the show. Jamie, how you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. I love how you smile, because when you smile, it just like lights up the room, right? You have like a really pretty smile. So thank you. Gonna make my day better. With that being said, tell my audience about yourself.
Okay. Well, which part do you want to know? You want just the general, like what I do or how I got here?
Whatever you want to bless us with.
Okay. So, they call me the soul surgeon because, as you and I were just discussing, my life took me to a bottom that at 40, I was still single and still in unhealthy, abusive work relationships, love relationships, and friendships. Like on every level, I was at a bottom. And I had done a lifetime of therapy, a decade of 12 steps, tons of self-help, yoga, healers, psychics, you name it. And I was still not getting what I wanted. And I realized, like, there's something really wrong here. There's something really wrong. And so it was like the dark night of the soul. It was either like, I'm out of here, or else I'm going to find what this is. And a voice inside of me said, go deeper. And I was like, what does that even mean? I've done all this work. And I was like, okay. I was just like, I was unwilling to accept my fate, that this was my fate. Like living old, alone, single, and like not getting anything I want. So I did. I went on a quest, and I found the solutions, which is now my method, to find the exact negative thinking and negative behaviors that you are doing that are causing you to recreate painful experiences and take you back to the original core wounding, core pain, right? So that's what my method really does. I dissect and go into your thinking and your behaviors exactly, though, not generally, exactly what you're thinking and exactly what you're doing. And I can show you, based on core pain, core wounding experiences, how you're still playing it out today. And by finding that, the gift is that then we know how to undo it, reprogram, change your thinking, change your behaviors, and change your entire life.
I love it. I love that. I love that, because you're finding out, it's kind of like with medication that I talk about all the time, or, you're finding out you're not covering it up by being, let's go work out for a little bit and release some endorphins and feel better. You're really finding out exactly what the root cause is, and you're working on that, because that may take longer. That may be a little painful, but once you work on it and you improve, then the lasting change can happen.
Well, absolutely. Because honestly, the people that come to me, they like where I just kept, bringing in the same people and same situations. It may be a different face and a different name, but the experiences were always still taking me back to like core belief systems about myself, core programming, like negative core programming. And so it was like, there's something really wrong. So I was like, I am willing to go in to end this, because, if we talk about manifesting, law of attraction, right, which we're living by anyway, which is that whatever you think about the most is what you're going to bring in. If you're in a state of woundedness, pain, you will continue to bring in people and situations to reaffirm that and take you back to your core pain. So it's like, I realized that, oh, I've got to get to the core. I've got to get to the core. And I found a way to do that. Yeah.
That's a powerful saying though. Like if you really stuck in that belief, you will sometimes not even intentionally bring in people and situations to confirm what you believe. That's really powerful. And I want to follow up with a question on this then. Because we're talking about belief, right? We're talking about belief. We're talking about core thoughts. So how do our beliefs and behaviors shape how we show up in relationships?
Okay. Well, that's a very big question. So what I can say is this, if you are wounded and in pain, especially with whoever you're bringing in, right now we'll just talk about the opposite sex, right? If I want to bring in a man and I have these old belief systems and old programming that men are bad, men cheat, men lie, I don't trust men, and I'm angry at men. And even though that's not like what I'm showing, but my inner core belief is that, well, that's going to cause a lot of problems on who I'm going to bring. I'm going to bring in the person that's going to affirm those things. That's going to make me not trust them, get angry, you know what I mean? Not feel safe and all those other things, because that's the energy that I'm sending out into the universe, right? And if our thoughts have energy, they're magnets. That's the magnet I'm sending out. The other receiving end of that magnet is the exact person that I don't want based on that wound, right? So that they will bring all that stuff up for me. But ultimately, what I've come to find is that that's our soul's evolution, our soul calling for us to be able to bring that up so we can want to do the work on it to evolve, shift, transform, and change, really. But it's like, if a lot of people are like me, I mean, I kept having to get hit over the head over and over. I mean, for years, ending up in the same place. I thought it was them. But in the end, when I realized it was me, not that I'm a bad person, but like, oh, this programming, these belief systems are so toxic and they're so subconscious. I didn't even know what I was doing. But when I found them, I was like, oh my God, this has been driving the ship.
Wow. And he was driving the ship and he didn't even know what was driving the ship, right? Isn't that insane?
It's insane. I mean, a lot of us are living life that way though. Like, really?
I would think most of us really live life that way. It's something that I've spent a lot of time working on, and my listeners know that I play the guitar. I love to play music. I love to meditate. The way I start my mornings is, with, red light therapy, and I meditate and I repeat positive things to myself. I play my music, go outside for a walk. Before I even do anything, I get up around 6 to 6:30 every morning so I can have that consistent routine, because doing those things have really helped me it puts me in a parasympathetic state. It puts me in a state where I can respond to things better. It puts me in a state where I can deal with anything that may come up, even within myself. And I'm having that positive energy around me throughout the day. And I've realized that since I've shifted in the last 2 years to having those kind of practices and all things that I've done and being around different people in my life, that more positive people have been drawn to my energy. And I'm even online, I've met people who just love my energy and just love talking to me. And I've never met them a day in my life. And it's not because I'm good or bad. I might be more bad than good, who knows? But it's really because I have that energy is now there that was not there before.
Yes. And I love that. I wake up at 5:15. So I'm with you for the morning routine. I put my clients all in a morning routine because how you start your day is how you create your day. So there you go. But like, I just want to say, and the thing is that, if we don't make these, oh no, this is what I want to say. If the stuff comes up, it's okay. Like, we don't want to feel bad. Like, we don't want anything that doesn't feel good. But the thing is that when that comes up, when we feel angry, when we feel discomfort, it's our body, our beingness telling us something's not right. That's like an identifier. That's like a gift. Okay, something's not right. Flashing. You need to take a look at this, right? Because then that's part of the growth, right? Then we get to grow more if we so choose to. A lot of us choose to like turn it against ourselves, turn it against other people, start to use outside things to get our well-being, and then we don't deal with it. And the problem is, if we don't deal with it, it starts to cause health issues.
Mm-hmm.
We start to have, a lot of anger that comes out in wrong places. We're not communicating appropriately. So then it's like we're using passive aggressive. So so the stuffing of our feelings is really unhealthy. It's
Yeah,
very
and
unhealthy. Yeah.
every health expert that I've worked with talks about chronic inflammation and the role that stress plays in chronic inflammation, right? So
Yes.
that's really stress. When your body's under stress, your body responds by raising cortisol, raising adrenaline. If you have a negative mindset, without even realizing, you can be putting yourself under stress. Because we talked about this before I hit record, right? Like if you start the day off by saying, today I hate my job, today's gonna be a bad day, I can't stand this, and you're just running on negativity the whole time, that's gonna manifest in you physically as well. And when that physical manifestation impacts your health. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say this because I love saying this. All these negative stories that we're telling ourselves are actually negative affirmations. So it's like it is affirming to yourself in the universe that like this is what you want, actually. If you keep repeating it, it is, and then it becomes a way of being, whether you like it or not. So it's like, it's that reprogramming of the stories, because that repeat of negative story is solidifying what you don't want.
So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is
Yes.
positive energy attracts positive energy, but negative energy attracts negative energy. Does that sound like a good summary?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I nailed it, everybody. I nailed it. Look at that. Look at that.
Yes, that is correct.
So let's talk about, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jamie.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk then about goals and achieving our goals, because sometimes people have relationships, however we want to do it, right? Sometimes we struggle to achieve our goals and we think that, oh, it's something out there, something that's wrong. But what are some things that may hinder us from achieving our goals, whatever those may be?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, as I've said to you before, I always go right to the thinking. So my question always is, what's your limiting beliefs and what are your fears? Because that's like top line stuff. You can't even get to like moving forward because once again, those underlying beliefs, negative beliefs, limiting beliefs, fears are what is driving the ship. Like it's really directing you and causing you to make decisions and take actions based on those things, not on reality and not what's in the present.
I love it. I did my very first episode that I released. I was last year sometime. It's been a year and a half now. Can't believe it's been that long. And I was talking about steps to was it? I don't remember the title anymore. It's been that long. But it's basically the things that you can do to start your weight management journey, something like that. And I mentioned part of it. I mentioned your limiting beliefs, and I'm talking about your fears, because at the end of the day, if you get up and say, you know what, I want to do this, or I'm going to do this, but you have things that your thoughts that you're thinking that's holding you back, you're never really going to get to that level. It's like Michael Jordan, even now, every day he gets up, thinks he's the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, some people look at him and say he's a narcissist or he's that, but he's that great because he thinks he is that great. If he got up and be like, well, I'll try my best today. Yeah, trying your best is good. I'm not saying you shouldn't try your best, but if you're aiming for something, you have to believe you can achieve that goal. Because if you don't believe you achieve that goal, it's going to be hard for you to achieve that goal.
Yes, you're right. And I want to say something else. Can I add something else?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So the limiting belief or fear is actually the top layer. But like, then as I do my work, I'm like, where did this come from? Because we can deal with that and change our thinking on the top line. And I keep calling it top line because, as I said, there's layers of deeper going as to where this stuff comes from, how it was created and how powerful it is. Right. So it's like, if we have a limiting belief, which a lot of my clients do, which is that I'm not good enough. Right. We could talk about, I love myself, I feel good about myself, blah, 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 and say all this positive stuff. But really, if we don't get to, oh, your mother told you as a kid, like everyone else is better than you, why aren't you like so-and-so, as an example of one of my clients, right? you can't even relate to like the top line affirmations I'm giving you, because we got to deal with this underlying experience, this underlying wound and pain. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So a lot of times when people are truly stuck, it's because it's so much deeper. It's like core wounding, core pain, core programming.
100%. I'm right there with you. I've gone through some stuff where I've looked back at the things that even my parents had told me, even though they didn't mean it, or maybe they didn't mean it in a negative way, whatever, however you want to put it in context. But you know, things that they have said or done that impact me in ways that's why I was a people pleaser when I was young. I knew that if I made the other people feel better, I would feel better. And you know, like the other day I was talking to my cousin. She graduated from medical school, and she's the first in her family to do so. And in Jamaica at that, and just to say, I'm telling you, the Jamaican medical school program, it is a different level of difficult. And she was said to me when I called her to talk, and this thing I've never said to her in my life, I'm proud of you. Those words don't ever come out of my mouth. And I said to her, I called her to say, hey, you're a doctor now, first in the family. That's really awesome. Da da da. And then she said to me, I hope I made the family proud. And I said to her, who cares about who is proud? Are you proud? Because a lot of times we get in that habit where we want to do things to make people happy. We want to do things like Vishen Lakhiani talks about it, right? Like he used to be an engineer and now he runs Mind Valley, right? Because when he was an engineer, he was doing it because that's what his parents wanted.
Yes.
But that didn't really fulfill. And so obviously you're familiar with him. That's not what he really wanted. That's not what fulfilled him. But when he started working on what fulfilled him and made him joyful and happy, his entire life changed.
Yes. Yes. And so, you know, and God bless him. He's amazing. And he's done a lot of good for the world. And he's a powerful being. But a lot of my clients aren't that powerful. Like they cannot overcome that stuff, because most of my clients haven't been aware that they're people pleasers. Like almost all my clients are people pleasers, by the way. And it's like a core wounding thing where it's like did you want to ask this question? You want me to go?
No, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's like, you know, it stems from like not getting the love, like really having emotionally unavailable parents. And, you know, usually, or having a very controlling parent, usually the mother, and like who was never pleased, you know what I mean? And like always like found what's wrong, was very judgmental and controlling, and was also emotionally unavailable and not present. So it was like, you know, the messaging was, and she just wanted you to behave, or they just wanted you to behave. So it was like, if I just behave and do good and make her happy, I'll get the love, I'll be okay. Right. Is like the core underlying belief that we have, right? If we're the people pleaser, right? So it's like, so that becomes a theme, right? It's like, even if I'm not being honest, even if I go doing what I want somewhere else, I'm going to her, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to show up and be all this and do this so I can make her happy, so I can get the love, so I can be okay. And the thing is that, you know, as life is, you know, once you do one thing, then you got to keep doing more things. It's like we're never done, right? The journey's never over here until we go, you know, to heaven. So that it becomes a way of being, right? It's just like, that's the way they are. Like, it's not being honest, not being authentic, because it's not safe to be that way. Wow. It's not safe. You know, sometimes most of my people don't tell all the truth because it's not safe. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then a lot of my people pleasers are very busy trying to read other people's minds. So they're always trying to navigate what to say and do based on reading someone's mind, right? And so what happens is that for the person that's the people pleaser, you have left your body. You are not present. You are not present. You are out here trying to manage and control and figure it out, which makes your energy not safe. You're not safe. So like, then there becomes an energetic thing going on where it's like, you're trying to please the person's never pleased. You don't feel safe. They don't feel safe. And then you're in this like cycle of like unhealthiness.
And when you say not safe, are you talking from a side of like emotionally not
Yes,
safe?
emotionally not safe.
Oh,
Yes.
that's absolutely true. And
Yes.
you had me thinking back when you mentioned the parents or the mother, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of it does step from that. Like we want to make our parents happy, and we
Yes.
raised with, like Vishen talks about when he was in India or when he came to US, he was taught that you're either an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure, right? Those are your four options, which is very similar to Jamaica, except so a lot of Jamaicans are teachers as well. And but if you don't meet one of those, you are a failure, right?
Yes.
In you know, God forbid you have a creative spirit and you want to be an artist, or do something that's not within the norm. You're not considered successful, so you may shove down your desire to do the things you really want to do because you want to please. So then that people pleasing habit moves from just your parents to where it just snowballs, right? And you
Yes.
just say
Yes.
that takes over your character.
Yes. But the biggest problem is that it's not even you. Like you don't even know who you are. That's
Mm,
what I deal with. My clients don't know who they are because they've spent
wow.
their life pleasing, right? Not being honest and authentic. And it takes a long time to unravel that because we're digging out the programming, the belief systems of your family, of the society, of other people, you know what I mean? Of friends. So to dig that out to find like, oh, this wasn't even my belief. This isn't even me. This is, you know what I mean? To find who you really are.
That is powerful. And that brings us to our next topic because you have a book that's coming out, right? So
Yes.
tell us about it and what inspired the topic.
So I think we're still quandering on the title, but so what I have found, as like we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, which is that, I tried all this stuff and there's not one thing that fixed me. Not one thing. My method is, as I call, a concoction of many modalities. When done all together, create the secret sauce. All together, right? So it's a whole concoction. And so, in the root of all the problems I have found, aside from the negative thinking, the negative programming, and all that other stuff, and the core wounds and blah, 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 is that every single issue is a lack of self love and no connection. A
Mm,
lack of self love and no connection. That is the root of every one of our, like the core issue of our problems. Right.
mm,
If we have no connection, it's because we're trying to get our well being from the outside
mm,
instead of being connected. Right. Whatever that looks like for you. And the lack of self love leads to the people pleasing, to, not being honest and authentic, to seeking outside forces for your well being, to like needing others to validate you and all that other stuff. Right. It's like that means we don't love ourselves because we cannot be honest, authentic in our truth and just
and
be
is
who
the
we are. Mm-hmm.
and then so is the book going to address those two issues? Is that the
Yes.
idea?
Yes. Because as part of my program, so everything I do is written. I have a workbook. So I have a method and a workbook. It's an exact process. Everything we do is written. They get homework because, as we said before, if we don't program positively, you're going to keep staying in your negative affirmations. So coupled with different thinking and different behaviors, they have to do the core, I call it foundational actions, which are 10, to start to root themselves in self-love and connection. Like we need that grounding. Like if you're going to build a house, has to have a strong foundation, right? So whatever the house was built on, if you're coming to see me, it doesn't work anymore. It's got to go. We have to change the whole foundation. We got to build the house up differently because when you are rooted in self-love and connection, you are coming, because if you love yourself, you have more love to give to the world. You see things with a very different perspective, right? And also you can receive more love. So it's like a win-win situation. But if you don't love yourself, it's hard to receive love and you definitely don't get, you're very judgmental, compare and despair. There's a lot of that, which is like a disease in itself that plagues the society. But anyway, and so loving yourself also empowers you to be in your truth, to be authentic and honest. And this is the key thing that I always share with my clients, which is so important, is when you are in your authenticity and in your truth. It is a magnet and it also a deterrent. So it's like it brings in what is aligned and it will remove what is not. But when you are not, you are in a place of like, problematic. Like you're in that place of the people pleasing with people who want to control you and all this other stuff. But when you get to just be who you are in your truth and your authenticity, that is the magnet within itself. And the people who aren't attracted to that will go.
Mm-hmm.
Like that I
Wow.
call as God. Like that is God doing for you what you can't do for yourself. Like really.
Absolutely powerful stuff here, Jamie. And when your book comes out, we have to stay connected. When your book
Okay.
comes out, I
Yeah.
will make sure to email it to my subscribers, put it on Instagram. And this is stuff that people need. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
absolutely powerful stuff. And before we get to, guess what, everyone? We're on to the hack of the episode. But of course, you know my routine by now. I have to talk to you about something. So what am I going to talk about today? Monolaurin, one of my favorite supplements. You see, monolaurin is derived from lauric acid, which is found naturally in coconut oil and human breast milk. Monolaurin has been researched for its potential to inactivate certain viruses, bacteria, yeast, and other microbes in the lab and in the body. See, research shows that monolaurin is many times more effective than lauric acid at killing viruses and bacteria. I love this study because it's a recent study of a team of scientists in 2019 that fed mice a high-fat diet and then gave some of the mice monolaurin as a supplement to see the difference. And after 10 weeks, they found that not only did the monolaurin prevent visceral fat buildup, which is that nasty, disgusting fat around your waist that surrounds your organs and create all kinds of health issue, that dad bod or dad belly or whatever you want to call it, right? But it also added to the balancing of gut bacteria, increasing the beneficial ones while reducing the harmful bacteria, such as E. coli, that balance of your gut, giving your gut that good gut bacteria, limiting the bad bacteria. The rebalancing may be a tool for reducing that visceral fat that we've been talking about, that fat that you need to get away from. Not that little bit of, around your so-and-so you want to lose for the summer or whatever, but that fat that actually impacts your health. So, of course, go to Natural Cure Labs. I lost my words there. naturalcurelabs.com and you code Zico Health for 10% off their products. And the link will be in the show notes and the description of the episode. And with that being said, back to the regular scheduled programming. And here's the hack. So one of the areas you focus on is relationships, and we talked about that a little bit already, right?
Yes.
And you suggested that one of your biggest challenges, or one of the biggest challenges that people face, is people pleasing, which we've talked about. So
Yes.
what are some reasons that people struggle with people pleasing, and what can they really do about it? You kind of answered the first part a little bit, but what are some things that we can do if we struggle with people pleasing?
Okay. Well, so as I said before, they are going to have to go a little deeper to see why, like where did this come from, to find the root of that so they can get to the truth, right? Because, what was said to you or done to you when you were little, you've now made it your truth and that's your story now. So it's like, how can we go back there, see the truth, see what happened, and shift the way we perceive it and shift the story, right? I mean, unless they're going to come see me and do deep work. But anyway, that's just like an easier something to do, right? Is one, you got to go back, because if we do the top line stuff, it's still, you don't feel good enough about yourself. The other part is, once again, it's really about self-love. And what I wanted to say, and the reason why my book is because, I always felt self-love was elusive. It's like, oh, love yourself, just love yourself. And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, okay, I'm going to hug and stare in the mirror, and like, but no, like I found that there are actions to take that build self-love within. So that's the book. But anyway, but it's like, how can you find ways to like yourself and be more comfortable in your skin? Like, I feel like, because if you're a people pleaser, you don't like yourself and you're not comfortable in your skin. So it's like, those are like core things. And, sometimes I have my clients like focus on taking care of themselves, right? Because most people who are people pleasers do not take care of themselves. Usually they're over helping other people,
Mm.
right? So they're neglecting themselves. So I was like, number one is start saying no. Like start saying no. Like, and that's really hard for my people pleasers. I know it sounds so simple, but it's really like start saying no to things that are going to take you away from taking care of yourself. Like, I feel like
Mm.
that's a big starter, because like, even to take a look at that, you're like, oh, wow, I'm really doing a lot and I'm not doing anything for myself. I mean, even if, to start off, because a lot of people can't go cold turkey. It's like, maybe say no once a week, you know what I mean? And start by that, because the more you say no, and then instead of doing something for someone else right now, do something for yourself. That alone is really going to start shifting, because it's going to it may feel really uncomfortable at first to do something for yourself, but the more you do it, the more you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what took me so long? This feels so good. Oh my God, I needed that. I needed that massage. I needed that walk. I needed that really healthy meal. I needed a vacation. You know what I mean? Or I needed to go have dinner with my friend, whatever it is. So that could be just something, but I really want people to be aware of, like, where are you not taking care of yourself, and where are you trying to take care of others to get the love? Right?
Abs-
Because, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You're rolling.
Oh, okay. So, but I feel like these are just little tidbits of hacks of things to start off with, to even be aware, because some people are unconsciously doing this. So it's like, if you find yourself like, and then try and be honest. Like, are you busy trying to read someone else's mind? That's another one. Like, every time you're in an interaction, are you finding yourself focused on what other people are going to think, and trying to figure out what you can do to like be okay? Like, if that's the case, you're definitely a people pleaser. And you need to try and get present. Like, try and get present. Be present. Like I always say, it's so important to listen and observe. Speak less, listen and observe. People will show you who they are. You don't have to try and figure it out. They show you. Within the first 5 minutes, people show you who they are if you let them.
I agree. And I love that. I love that. I love both of those things. Actually, you mentioned more than two things,
Yeah.
really. And
Yeah.
I really love everything. But again, what do? You start by going deep into the root cause, right? Going back into finding out the story. Why not just find out the story, but why do you even have that story?
Yes.
Why do you think that way? And then after making that, then you start looking at, okay, saying no, focusing on self-care. Are you trying to guess why other people think? Does that person think this about me? Does this person think I'm a nice person? Does that person who cares? I don't care if you think I'm a nice person or not, really. There's some people who think whatever things about me. I told somebody one time, I said, no matter what I post on Instagram or on my show or wherever, I'm always gonna have somebody who's gonna have a problem with what I do.
Yeah.
And I say that person, I could care less, because I'm still gonna keep doing what I do. Right. So, because at the end of the day, when you're out in the public enough, and I'm sure you know this, Jamie, like, you're in the public enough, eventually it just becomes a habit of you. You just know that, hey, people are gonna have a problem with it. That's that, like you say about the listening thing, that says more about them than it actually says about you.
Absolutely.
Do you
I
have
always
anything
say
to
God
add?
bless. Well, I just want to say, whenever that happens, I say God bless.
Love it.
I just say God
Love it.
bless. I send them the positive energy, and it's just like, go be and do what you got to do.
Love it.
Yeah. Yes.
Now,
So
do you have anything to, oh, go ahead. Because I feel like we're talking over each other here. Go ahead.
no, I mean, I feel like, those few hacks I gave your people is something to start trying, because even if they're not ready to go deeper yet, they're aware now that that is the real turning point, right? But like, to even start to like get an inch going, like I said, say no once a week. It's just, how can you take your life back is really the question. How can you take your life back? How can you come back to you? How can you start to love you? How can you start to take care of you and start to find who you really are?
Wow, banging stuff. And this is why, people, you should work with an expert who, because yes, you can go back and you can try your best, but sometimes it's hard to really to be honest with yourself. Sometimes it's you may not even be going as far enough as you think you should be going, right? But you work with someone who's not only they've been through it themselves, they've experienced it, they've overcome it, probably even had a coach, and now they can coach you through those same things or whatever you're going through. That's life-changing stuff. So check out Jamie's work. And with that being said, I'm going to ask her to tell us, how can my audience learn more about her and her work?
Okay. Okay, great. So I have a website. It's www.jamiebhaas, but I spell it Jaime. B is in boy, and Haas, HAAS.com. You can go there. I have Instagram. I have tons of great content. I give great videos. All my stuff is solution oriented. It's also Jamie B. Haas. And I have a Facebook page also, which is also Jamie B. Haas. So just make sure you spell my name right. And I always try and give away content that's going to be helpful. And if you go to my website, there's a free download of the 5 habits, which are actually my 5 self-love foundational actions, which you can start now if you want to get going.
Absolutely love it. And of course, you know how I roll around here. Her information is going to be in the show notes. And the show notes are going to be zikahealth.com/Jamie B. Haas method. Jamie is spelled Jaime. Haas is HAAS. Just make sure everybody knows that. So zikahealth.com/Jamie B. Haas method. And of course, even to make it easier for you, the link will be in the show notes. So you can click on the show notes will be in the description of the episode. So you click on the link and it will take you directly to our information as well. And with that being said, Jamie, thank you for being here and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.